we've got the Chronicles. I think we need to get the Sting first.
In 2009, the Saturday Rub brought you the iconic
World according to the Cool Breeze.
And now, it brings you
Cool Breeze Chronicles.
You've never spoken.
Was that done in that little voiceover dunny office?
It was actually read off the Wolfpack suggestion as what we could call this, and it was not a fresh record, BT. So, look, we've done this for 3 or 4 weeks now, and as we know, JB, we've outlined the turmoil in Brian's life at Richmond Footy Club, and last week we brought the last days of that relationship where he'd... I suppose had a heated demonstration with his coach, Mike Patterson, after he dropped him to the VFL. We know he was caught drinking on a Friday before a Saturday game, and the club had given him a suspension. And anyway, the contract he had for 1985 was ripped up, and off he went to Collingwood. The grass looked a whole lot greener, and certainly after the first game he played for Collingwood, 1985, at this venue, it was the famous, effectively the first night game, North Melbourne versus Collingwood. And Brian has kicked 7 goals in a big Magpies win. But as always with Brian, it just wasn't simple. What we learned out of the game, and it wasn't the initial match reporting of it, but in the days later, led by Jeff Poulter, it must be said, took a deeper look at how Brian played in that particular game and wrote this. At least 2 of Taylor's marks against North Melbourne were taken in controversial circumstances and criticism that he pushed away his opponents. Now, Bob Rose in the same article has jumped to Brian's defence, but Jeff Poulter was quite prophetic in saying that a season of controversy over this matter lies ahead over the way Brian's playing. Daryl Timms, haircut. Picked it up. And Brian, being Brian, knows only one way to deal with such matters. When he's under siege, he fights back. So Brian, who seemed to have a hotline to haircut back in going through these articles, said that similar tactics had been levelled against him, or similar allegations of illegal tactics had been levelled against him back in 1982 at Richmond, and he said to Timsy, and it nearly destroyed me. It never ceases to amaze me. You do well in this country, and people still want to put the knife into you.
That's all Bobby thinks he is.
The same thing happened to me at Richmond in 1982, and it nearly destroyed me.
Woe is me.
The umpires... Now listen to this. This is very familiar what's happening with a certain player at North Melbourne. The umpires get the word out, and then they go out of their way to watch me. I got penalised for something I wasn't even doing. Now, the harp's really out here, Jim.
Yes.
People seem to forget that my game involves body wrestling and contact. I use my body and my strength. Really, I prefer to say nothing more about it.
having said a lot about it.
Yes.
That's right.
And as always with Brian, the past is never too far away from his present. There are articles, even at this early stage of his new career with his new club, that would Michael Roach kick more goals than him in this particular season. And Brian is dirtied up. I couldn't give a stuff about that.
Oh, God,
It's who will be playing in September. That's all that counts to me. I don't care if I play full-back, centre back, full forward, as long as I get a game every week.
That's right.
We're just getting into the nice little settling in phase for Brian, Jim. So we're up to about round 1 of 1985 in this Cool Breeze Chronicles, and he's already causing a stir. And this issue with the illegal tactics is to become a big one throughout the course of the season.
So, Brian...
Just a lazy 7 on debut, Bristol.
Under lights, new thing in footy.
They broke the gates down to get in.
That's right. They locked about 20.
I was there.
So all of a sudden you've gone from Richmond to Collingwood and you're a team man now. You'd play full-back for the good of the team.
Well, they needed someone to kick goals, as you'd say, Spud. If you were put up there in those days, your job was to kick goals.
But you wouldn't mind playing full-back or
seven in your first game with
no, it was very
bunch
good.
of new guys you don't know.
But I'm just...
Who are you playing on, Mickey Passmore?
At that stage, they weren't kicking the ball to me, and I had to go and get it myself.
Poor old Michael Passmore.
Michael Passmore, or who would you
would
have
been Nick Martin?
No,
not 85. Not 85.
No.
John Law?
Good
John
player,
Law would have
Johnny
been
Law.
John Law.
He wouldn't be big enough for Bristol. But
McCann?
nice and hard at it. I reckon Michael Passmore probably would have been 85.
Here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Round about there. But anyway, it's just a lazy 7, Bristol. I like it.
Try and lower it down by putting me onto some sort of average
well,
operator.
Denchi, I think,
he would have finished by
85 then. So I'm just trying to think who it was. Anyway, 7-7, Bristol.
Although Keith Gregg was still going around then, wasn't he? In that year.